All right, there's been a lot of developments in the MAHA world. So let's go. As we reported the last several weeks, the Trump administration is delaying the childhood vaccination schedule, particularly the hepatitis B vaccine, which has been forced upon children for way too long. Just getting moved for now to a little bit later, not immediately in the first 2 days of birth, right? In fact, Dr. Robert Malone found a newspaper article from many years ago in which Big Pharma was openly telling the press that, quote, if adults won't go for the shots, then you give them to babies. So, no, your kids never needed the Hep B vax. It was just the boost to boost quarterly profits of Big Pharma. In fact, there's now documentation showing how the Hep B vaccine began its existence as a highly experimental vaccine in 1977, administered to gay men on a volunteer basis by the NIAID. That's, Dr. Fauci's old stomping ground. Sounds like it's great for kids, right? Despite having been told by both the Trump administration's medical team as well as the president himself that they were delaying this most dangerous and frankly unnecessary injection, Dr. Jane Ruby, who is a well-known MAHA activist, has tweeted that the vaccination was, quote, was moved, not removed, that nothing was ended. She goes on to be quite critical of the administration and says that the first of the 3-shot Hep B series was just moved to 1 to 2 months, the 1 or 2 month visit with a pediatrician, that it's not ended. So we'd like to know which one it is. We'll try to find out for you, and this isn't the only issue where MAHA potentially feels betrayed. Brooke Jackson, she's been on this show on The Absolute Truth before with her attorney, Warner Mendenhall, was a Pfizer whistleblower who alerted authorities about the company's alleged improper clinical trials. As I said, she was on the show before. Here she is explaining why she went against Pfizer. Watch.
I know what I've been running on for the last almost 5 years now is hope. And that's hope that, the people that have taken this product of Pfizer's would get a little bit of justice through holding these pharmaceutical companies accountable for fraudulent behavior and the conduct of their clinical trials.
Yeah, Jackson remains under investigation by Trump's Department of Justice, led by Pam Bondi, despite the fact that a purportedly pro-MAHA president is in office. Jackson tweeted at RFK Jr., the HHS secretary, recently saying, quote, the DOJ represents your agency. You believed in me and in the lawsuit I brought against Pfizer so strongly that you made sure I had the help and the right attorney to fight it. You stepped in because you knew the truth mattered. How can you stay silent now when the appeals court can rule any day and the DOJ is actively undermining everything you once supported? How do you go from championing this case to disappearing when it matters most? I'll second that question. I hope she gets an answer. Joining us now to discuss a related matter and the ongoing legal battle to get the COVID jabs labeled as bioweapons is our friend Dr. Joseph Sansone, who is the author of the popular Mind Matters and Everything Else Substack. He's also got a major lawsuit that he's been trying to get, the Florida governor to respond to for, it's like years now almost, isn't it, Joe? Good to see you again. And I'll also say you've just got more evidence to support your case, and that Dr. Marty McCarty is going out there and saying that, they now have evidence that 10 children died from the COVID jabs, right? Out of the 90 some they looked at. That's a very high percentage rate.
Right.
What's the latest with your case, and why can't we get any movement on this?
Well, I actually have pretty big movement, because long story short, my case was dismissed December 9th of last year. It was filed on the 1st, went through the appellate court. Now I'm back in the trial court. I had 8 issues there that I was appealing on. 2 of them were procedural. One was that they dismissed my case before I got a summons from the clerk of the court. The other is I was saying because I was threatened with sanctions, I wasn't allowed to amend my brief. At first, so what happened is on December 12th, the appellate court dismissed my case. At first, I thought I lost until I looked at it and I realized I actually won, because what they were saying is I can still, they didn't reverse and remand it with instructions, which would have been better, but they dismissed my case saying my case is still active at the lower court. If they thought it was frivolous, they would have just affirmed the lower court. So I am back in the trial court. So I immediately amended my complaint. I'm still saying it's a bioweapon, but I removed the weapons of mass destruction law, and I'm focusing on the Constitution, the Florida Civil Rights Act, our informed consent law. And a recent study, that exhibit you're looking at right there, was Exhibit S on my exhibit list. And that's a study that came out showing that 50% of the unvaccinated women had the MRNA, the Pfizer MRNA in their blood and placenta. And that helps my shedding argument. And so what I did is I added in Florida's recent law against mandating MRNA and EUA products, because I'm saying that now you're violating this mandate law because you're forcing vaccination here, because there's no way to avoid the involuntary environmental exposure. So I'm adding that law in there too. The bottom line is these are biological, technological weapons of mass destruction. I filed a motion for a preliminary injunction. I'm asking for a 3.5-hour evidentiary hearing with 6 witnesses. I can't say what the court should do, but it'd be irregular for me not to get a hearing because I meet the criteria of irreparable harm, likelihood to succeed on the merits, public interest, and so on. So I'm waiting to hear on that hearing date, but I intend to have 6 witnesses, including myself. I'm going to introduce all the evidence that's already part of the record from the appellate court because it was all uncontested, and I will subpoena Surgeon General Ladapo as well because I'm not going to let them continue to kill our people, and I'm demanding unconditional surrender.
Besides Ladapo, real quick, who else will be your witnesses? Some of them.
It's part of the record, but I don't know if I should be saying their names. I'm not sure if they're okay with it at this point.
We'll stay with that.
Yeah, they're probably
we'll
all. I don't want anybody to yell at me, but I have, besides myself, I have 4 doctors and 1 epidemiologist, and then I plan on subpoenaing Surgeon General Ladapo. They're going to make, some frivolous motion to dismiss the case, but I think I can address them.
I really hope you get your day in court. I hope you at least get to present the evidence in the court record. There's so much now. It's just so damning. It's undeniable. There are studies that come out almost by the day at this point, Dr. Sansone, that just shows that they are bioweapons and they must be pulled from the market.
I feel very confident that if I get my hearing, we'll have a good outcome. I'm seeking a preliminary injunction. If I get the preliminary injunction, I box in Governor DeSantis because he can either throw his political career away and continue to fight this at that point or sign a consent agreement. I'm not going to stop until I win.
Keep us posted. You're one of the most persistent people I've met, and we appreciate you, Dr. Sansone.
I know we got a hard break. I just got to tell you, your reporting on the slot machine voting has been exemplary, and we're officially making you Journalist of the Year at Mind Monitors and everything else.
I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And I will also I'm glad you mentioned the Substack because people can go to josephsansone.com to see that exhibit that you have filed in its entirety in great detail. That was a very important study, a very concerning study for women who thought they were doing the right thing and not taking the jab, only to find out, they have the toxic side effects of it anyway due to shedding. Thank you, Dr. Sansone.
Yep, thank you.